All right, I believe it's probably 7 o'clock. It is 7 o'clock. I will call this meeting to order. It is May 11th, 7 p.m., Walton Senior Center. This is the Walton City Council meeting for the city of Walton. We all will stand for invocation of the pledge. Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day. Lord, we ask that you give us guidance. Lord, that we ask that you keep us from pettiness and short-sightedness. And Lord, we ask that you give us the wisdom as leaders to make the best decisions going forward for our city. In your name we pray. Amen. To the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Tammy, if I could I please get a quick roll call?
Howard Stevens.
Here.
Bobby McDonald.
Here.
Terry Courtney.
Here.
Sherry Snowden.
Here.
Dan Martin.
Here.
Matt Brown.
Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and we have on the agenda a scheduled public hearing. This is for the proposed use of our municipal road aid funds in the amount of $73,828.25. Do this every year. It's required for to receive our municipal road aid. I don't really need one, I don't think. We have a few roads that this money will go towards, just minor repairs, things of that nature that we have slated or will be slated for this upcoming fiscal budget. I believe one is a widening of Central. Matt, we've got a couple on there. You got offhand?
Yeah, Central was on there, resurfacing Locust, Percival,
Any combination of those three should probably cover most of the road aid. I believe, Mike, I'm required to open this up to citizen comments for the purpose of the hearing.
Right. Pursuant to KRS Chapter 177, there are monies set aside and distributed to the various legislative bodies, public agencies in Kentucky for road projects. We anticipate this year to be $73,828.25. That'll come to us in increments. Later on in the agenda, we have a resolution to authorize the city to receive those funds and for the mayor to sign the agreement. Pursuant to KRS Chapter 24, we have advertised this public hearing, and the purpose of the public hearing is to take the sense of any members of the public who wish to speak and make suggestions about what we ought to use that money for. It'd be appropriate at this time to call for that.
Okay. Anybody? Don, you got anything? Yeah, you got any comments on fixing roads around here?
No, I just come to listen.
Okay.
I give enough trouble talking.
Heard that.
That's for the ones that don't know me, and I guess I should out here and do myself something I don't know what to do. If this is the time to do it. I'm Don McMillan. I live in the city, and I've been with the planning and zoning for a few months. And I come up to see what the city was going to do with all the money, and I didn't know what they're building over there by Burger King. So anyway, I just come to find out a few things and just listen. But I appreciate the time you've given.
Don McMillan said he's been on planning commission for a few months. Let's put it this way, my hair was black and full when he started on the planning commission.
Since '82.
Yeah, I was still in diapers when.
I wasn't born.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, so yeah, been a while. Thank you for your few months of service, Don. Sir, anything on?
Pothole need more, needs to be.
Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. All right. Hearing nothing else, and I guess I can close
Close
this.
the public hearing.
Close the public hearing? All right. Public hearing is now closed. A few announcements. May 31st, City Hall is going to be closed in observance of Memorial Day. June 1st, we will have a caucus meeting, 6:30 here at the Senior Center. June 8th, we will get into an events planning meeting, 6:15 here at the Senior Center. June 8th, we will also have a council meeting here at the Senior Center. And it's not on the agenda. I will probably play this a little closer to ear. At some point, we will have a budget meeting. I will get with you all on that when I get a little closer. If I could I please get an approval of the agenda? Howard and Bobby.
So, you said motion.
We both said motion at the same time, so just pick one, and then I'll second, or whatever. Or I'll second.
Let's arm wrestle.
Go for it.
Let it wrestle.
All right. If I,
Call for a vote.
oh, yeah. Sorry. Thank you,
We
Mike.
can't fight a duel, then we can't get sworn in next time.
Okay. Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Okay. And if I could I please get an approval of the previous minutes for April 6th and April 13th? In the past, we've combined those.
Motion to approve together.
Second.
Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
I'm going to skip here forward and go to citizens' comments, open it up to Sheriff Bill Mark. Sheriff, with the Sheriff's Department, Major Bill Mark. You got a nice promotion there for a second. Sorry it doesn't come with a pay increase. Does have a nice ring to it, though.
Thanks, but no. Some days he'd probably give you the job, you probably don't want it. Yeah. Pay him up, let me tell you.
Oh, good to see you. I'll have the sheriff's report for April and Sunday, for your guests here. The sheriff's department handled 951 law enforcement events in the city of Walton during April 2021. Some of those were 7 911 hangups, 17 alarm drops, one attempt to locate, 6 animal complaints. We investigated 16 auto accidents. One of those was with injury on North Main Street. If you're curious, of the other 15 accidents, 13 of them were in parking lots. As usual, your main culprits are Kroger's calls and the truck stop. 2 reported burglaries, neither of which turned out to be a burglary. We did 41 business checks, handled 43 criminal or civil service, 6 criminal mischief reports, 9 domestics, 4 intoxicated persons, 6 emotional crises, 2 juvenile trouble calls, 6 motorist assists, had 1 overdose, 7 requests for information, 504 spot checks, 14 suspicious activity calls, 8 theft reports. The most significant of those was somebody on a Sunday afternoon went into Big Tex while they was closed and in broad daylight took 2 trailers, made 2 separate trips.
Well,
Deputies did 42 traffic stops, which resulted in 20 citations. There's 12 vehicle complaints. We unlocked 15 cars, and there was 3 wanted person calls, and deputies made 10 arrests. So little slow in the traffic enforcement department overall, pretty quiet month, but we're kicking off more of our grant-funded traffic enforcement in May, and Click It or Ticket starts the week before Memorial Day, so you'll probably see a lot more traffic enforcement in the city in the month of May. Any questions I can answer for you?
Do you have any targeted enforcement in the area that you did study?
Do you want to discuss that, or? Okay. I don't have the study in front of me.
Right, well,
Uh,
it just seems there's some people
Matt,
that
do you have that, Matt?
Not handy, but I can, well, I've got an email. I can send it to you.
Okay.
I think in that study, Winstrip was the biggest violator with some people going twice the speed limit. So.
Yeah, and.
It's like 5 to 6 a.m. and then 5 to 6
Right,
p.m.
and essentially what we did was had the.
swear I turned it off.
Request from Councilman Stevens with Public Works doing a traffic study kind of in the town center area, Winstrip and Chestnut. And I'm kind of speaking off the cuff here since I don't have the study here in front of me. But basically what they look at from an engineering standpoint, and I'm not an engineer, I don't even play one on TV, so maybe I prefer to one in the audience, is any traffic accidents, and we did an analysis of 24 months of traffic accidents. There were no speed-related accidents on any of those streets, and that's excluding the parking lots, that's strictly the streets. And then you look at kind of the 85th percentile of how fast cars are normally traveling on those roads, because I guess the philosophy is that the normal driving public will kind of determine what the speed, normal speed of traffic would be. And do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, I've got it. So the crash data found in 2019 and 2020, there were 11 accidents in the vicinity, and that was factoring out the ones in the parking lot.
Okay.
But none of them found excessive speed to be a contributing factor. The accident. And then
Do you have the 85th percentile speeds for those streets?
yeah, it was. That was
35 was on Winstrip?
Winstrip Lane.
Okay. And then Town Center was just under 30, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then I think Chestnut was in the 20s.
Okay, Chestnut Drive was 26, Town Center Drive was 30, and Winstrip was 35.
Okay. So, and that's what, 85 out of 100 cars would be traveling on those streets. So I don't think we'd want to be in a position where we'd be writing tickets to 85 out of 100 cars if they're traveling at 30 and 20 cent. So I put before the council that you may want to take under advisement to consider changing the speed limit on, at the very least, Winstrip and Town Center, and leave Chestnut at 20.
Yeah, our discussion was changing it to 25, so since it's a commercial area.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know, do you have any 25 streets in, I think everything's either 20 or 30. I think your city speed limit is pretty much 20 across the board, except the, Old Beaver and School, spot limits are 30.
Yeah, but that slows down once you get around to going up the hill to the school.
But yeah, Councilman Stevens, that has the study, or if you like, I can send it to the clerk for your all's consideration, and you can take whatever action you deem appropriate.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Major Mark. All right. Chief Best with the Walton Fire District, you are up, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. How's everybody? Report from the fire department for the month of April of 2021. We responded to a total of 123 EMS related calls, an additional 45 fire incidents. Out of those calls, 3 of those calls was overdoses and 12 of them was motor vehicle crashes. So with the nicer weather coming in, people starting to travel more. COVID restrictions are starting to get loosened up some. People are getting out and about more, so we're seeing an uptick in the motor vehicle crashes. Other than that, as far as things going on with the fire department, we are continuing to get out and do business inspections. We kind of got behind on them because a lot of businesses had really tightened things up and basically closed down for the most part. Didn't want outside people coming in unnecessarily in their eyes due to COVID. So again, with the restrictions loosening up, we're getting into these businesses, getting these inspections conducted and completed. We have started testing hydrants in both Boone County and Kenton counties, and we're working closely with Roger with City Public Works, and we're getting the city hydrants tested as well. So all that is well underway. In June of 2020, or June 22nd, I think it is, we have worked on scheduling a blood drive with Oxford Blood Center. As more information gets confirmed, I will be getting information to you all, so advertisements can get out one time, and that'll be open to the public. But it looks like right now that's going to be probably on June 22nd, but that's not 100% certain yet, but it's going to be in June. So,
Would that be at the station itself?
yeah, it's
Okay.
going to be at the local station behind Kroger's
Gotcha.
Town Center. So, other than that, that is all I have to report for the month of April and upcoming events. Anybody have any questions for me? All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Last but not least, Matt Bogan with Cardinal Engineering.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Got a pretty short report this month, because I feel like we're kind of in between on a lot of things. On High Street, I talked to Dunn Associates earlier today. They sent the construction agreement to Norfolk Southern last month. EW Chambers told them to expect 6 to 8 weeks for review and processing on their end, which would put it either late this month or early next month. And then, of course, Dunn will finalize the right-of-way order with the state, and then we'll get things out to I sent the contract agreement to Michael's Construction for the 2021 resurfacing, and we just got back the encroachment permits from the state to do the portion of the work that extends into the state right-of-way on Main Street. So really, as soon as the new fiscal year turns over, we can get Michael's going on that. I also have bid specs ready for the resurfacing of the tennis courts. I talked to a contractor down in Louisville that specializes in tennis courts, and they got some specs for the surface coating, and color treatment, and all that. So whenever council's ready to proceed with that, we can go ahead and get it moving.
Send it out.
Yep, sounds good. On the Owens property and the sidewalk improvements that we've talked about, we've got the Church Street corridor surveyed and have a base map put together. Because of the age of some of the properties out there, the property records are kind of sketchy after a while, and some of the property lines aren't tied down very well. Some it's defined to some of it has a right-of-way line, some of it's defined to the center line, some of it's just really poorly defined. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out a preliminary design on the sidewalk, and then when we get to that point that we're kind of confident where things are going to go and what easements we might need, we can revisit that and do chase that paper trail a little farther where we really need to versus just wasting a bunch of time on it now for something we may not need in the long run. And then on the MS4 program, we've been keeping up with field inspections, checking in on we don't have too many projects that are active right now, mostly the Starbucks. There's been some stuff back in the Logistic Park 75 that it's inactive right now, but they left it in kind of bad shape, so just keeping up with the contractor to get things cleaned up and stabilized a little bit until they resume construction. And then I mentioned in the caucus last week that Division of Water will be up here next month doing an audit on our paperwork to date. Just a routine thing to see that our first full year of things that we're getting the hang of it, keeping up with everything that we need so that they can report back to the EPA. So that will be the afternoon of June 16th. It's all virtual. I'll be on Zoom with them for the afternoon, kind of just going through a checklist. And anything that they come up with that we don't have, they'll pretty much just give me a list at the end and set a deadline for getting everything back to them. So it sounds like it should be pretty straightforward, and they're happy to work with us and for anything we might need to get that's not taken care of right now. So anybody have any questions?
On the Owens property, you sent out that sketch or that blueprint on the fire training site.
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head how much acreage that is taken up?
It was about 3-ish.
Okay.
3.5.
Gotcha.
And that property line that's on there, we can tweak that if we need to.
Mhm.
If we need more, a little less. It was just, it was an old parcel line from when that property was put together, and I kind of just
Yeah.
made sense with the location that we were talking about with Chief. So, yeah, if we need to tweak that, make things more favorable, it's not. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Since we are in citizen comments here, Don, the building going next to the Burger King and that's going to be a Starbucks drive-through, pretty much what they call a super Starbucks. So they'll have breakfast sandwiches and lunch sandwiches and all the coffee in the world you could drink for $8 a cup.
No
Okay.
refills.
I appreciate that. I've heard a lot of things going in, nobody seems to know. I appreciate that.
You just haven't called the right people. Nope, that's it. While I'm still on citizen comments, do you have something you wanted
No.
to add? You just here to take it all in, huh?
Get it all in, man, to see what's going on.
All right, good deal. Okay, so now moving on to the business portion here, we have Resolution 2021-04. This is a resolution of the City of Walton, Boone County, Kentucky, and Kenton County, Kentucky regarding the execution of Second Amendment to the existing water supply agreement between the City of Walton and Northern Kentucky Water District. Counselor?
Well, Mayor, you pretty much hit it on the head there. This is a resolution that would authorize you to sign an agreement with the Water District that was worked out between you and the engineers at the Water District and Roger of our staff. It's for loop on the southern end of town. It's a cooperative agreement where the district and the city would work together to put in that line and it will also eventually include a large pump station, and it's all spelled out who has to pay what in the agreement. So that's the resolution. If the resolution is adopted, it would authorize you to sign that agreement.
Okay. Council, we've had discussion on this. Do we need to have further discussion, or I would need a motion to move forward with a vote?
So this is the southern pump.
Yes.
I mean, unless you want to explain why it's needed again.
I had hoped for a shorter meeting, so.
I'm good.
Okay.
I motion to move forward.
Second.
Okay. Take a vote when you're ready, Tammy.
Okay. Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Next up, we have Resolution 2021-05, Municipal Road Aid Cooperative Program Agreement. This is in relation to what we just had the public hearing on. Mike, is there any legalese you need to?
Well, this is a standard form that we see every year. The title that the State Highway Department, or the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, whatever they call it now, it's a resolution adopting and approving the execution of a municipal aid co-op program contract between the Incorporated City, Walton, and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid for the fiscal year July 1, 2021, as provided in the Kentucky Revised Statutes, and accepting all streets referred to therein as being streets which are part of the incorporated city. Attached to the resolution is the Municipal Road Aid Cooperative Program Agreement referred to in the public hearing earlier today, which anticipates that we would receive from that program $73,828.25 for our road program. It will come to us in installments. And again, that is anticipated. It's never a guaranteed amount. So if you want to accept that money from the state, you can approve this resolution by your motion.
Motion.
Second.
Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Next, we have the second reading of ordinance 2021-04, an ordinance of the City of Walton and Boone, Kenton County, Kentucky, amending sections 50.01, 50.40, and 50.41 of the Walton Code of Ordinances, in order to provide that owners and lessees shall be responsible for the payment for all water and sewer bills, plus any additional fees, charges, and costs for real estate connected to the city's water and/or sewer system.
And there, that is the title, and by further summary, you'll see on page 1, it's proposed to revise the word customer to include not only the resident of the property that water and sewer serves, but also the adding the owner of the property. On page 2, there's language in there that requires the property owner to be responsible for the bills if the resident does not pay in a lessee lease situation. And then also explains in section 3 towards the bottom of page 2 that failure to timely pay any water bill or abide by any notice sent to the customer, that would be cause for disconnection of the water service. And then it's on the top of page 3 in section 3. There's language that's added that makes it the responsibility of the property owner to monitor the situation in case there is a default in the payment of the water or sewer bill. So that is second reading. That was the title and summary, and it's up to council to consider this for adoption. You can do that by motion.
Motion. Second.
Howard, Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
No.
Okay. Moving forward, council, the reason you're seeing this, I was wrong. It would not be done by, this is what we discussed about the people who tapped in. It would not be done by resolution. Mike says it needs to be done by ordinance. So this is ordinance number 2021-05, first reading. Order of the City of Walton, Kentucky, annexing a parcel of real estate currently owned by Richard and Sandra Grinnell, surrounded by the current city boundaries in the northern part of the city of Walton and located at and known as 12353 Dixie Highway, all as more particularly described and illustrated in the exhibits to this ordinance. Counselor?
Again, Mayor, that was the title. By summary, this is an island of a couple of lots on Dixie Highway north of downtown that was never annexed into the city. It was never connected to the city sewer. The current property owners asked if they could connect, and it was called to their attention that it's a requirement to be within the city limits. It's my understanding that they have verbally agreed to be annexed. I have prepared a consent for them to sign, which we'll need to make sure that's done before we do a final on this ordinance next month or whenever. Attached to the ordinance is a copy of the deed to specify the property that we're dealing with. Also attached is a screenshot from the PVA Link GIS maps just for review. We eventually will need a survey plat to attach to the ordinance and to be able to send that to the Kentucky Secretary of State and the county clerk so that they can have a record of exactly what property we're annexing. I'm not sure if the city engineer does that or if the property owner would do it, but I would assume that would take some further discussion with the property owner. Matt's sort of nodding, so he'd be capable of doing that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we can do that, yeah.
Yeah, I have a printout from the Kentucky Secretary of State's office that shows the requirements for that if you'd like to have it.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you after the meeting.
To add to this, before we go on here, how this came about, this property had been asked to be annexed in with the previous owners. They had documentation that they couldn't find, but previous and mayor and council from, I'm not sure if it was Mayor Bill King or it's going back a long way. It could have been Abe Ryan. They had gotten an easement, I believe, to go through the yard, but they had an agreement that basically said that they would get a tap into the city as long as they annexed in. So we put in, they asked for the sewer tap in, we put the sewer tap in for them, so that's where we're at now. But that wasn't necessary for the, for any of this. I just wanted to tell you, it's a kind of a interesting Walton story, I guess you would say. So this is, they found the piece of paper finally, and so that's how this all came about. So.
I think the paper that you're talking about was a promise by the city that we would not charge them for the tap-in.
Right, correct.
But that if they tapped in, they would have to annex into the city.
Thank you. That's exactly what it is.
And I neglected to say that although not required by Kentucky law, it's your, I guess, history that you vote on first reading. So we'll leave that up to you now.
Motion.
Second.
Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Council comments. Councilman Stevens? Councilman McDonald?
No.
Councilwoman Courtney?
Nothing, sir, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Snowden?
No, thank you.
Got nothing.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be the lone silent person here tonight, but
Surprise, surprise.
well, I would just let it go, but I have some things that that I need to thank and tell here real quick. We had a city cleanup, maybe 2-3 weekends ago. I would like to thank Councilman Bobby McDonald and for wrangling his children under.
They went on a hike.
Yeah, under the guise of fun. Basically, he duped them into showing up, told them they were going to go do something fun, and then told them that they were picking up trash with us. I would also like to thank Kristen Nevius, who set this up and helped organize it. We were able to clean roughly a mile-long stretch along US 25 from, I think it, all said and done, about Wildcat Run down to Walton Nicholson Road. You would not believe some of the stuff we found.
A lot of masks.
A lot of masks, a lot of Fireball.
Keystone.
I found I swear it wasn't me. There was, I think I found an entire 1.5 of Svedka vodka. I imagine somebody was probably trying to get away from one of Major Mark's deputies because it was intact. Probably didn't want that in the car anymore. But it was a good event, so thank you to everyone who attended on that, and thank you to Kristen Nevius for setting that up.
We have sorry to cut you off.
No.
A couple of those bags, it looks like were left on Mary C. from the.
Oh, yeah, there was a church that came back. I don't know what church it was. There was a church that showed up later on in the day. Are they still up there?
They're on the railroad bridge on the, like, the westbound side, like headed towards 75.
Okay, I get this. That's no problem.
I was running and I didn't
Yeah,
have room to carry
I forgot all about them. So I'm to whatever church showed up. Thank you, thank you very much. I'm really not sure who it was, but they cleaned up along Mary C. Grubbs. It was later in the day. I had Fish and Wildlife showed up today at the Owens property to do a shock of the lake and get a mapping of the lake. Wasn't as promising of news as I would have hoped. We do have some catfish. We have a very large population of sunfish, particularly small sunfish, and in turn, no bass. So I will be discussing this further with council of what that means once I get the reports together, get some mapping. But it wasn't as promising as we had hoped for. But it's actually kind of a good starting point. So it's step one in working towards a fence program and towards making that a great place for people of Walton and Northern Kentucky to enjoy. And lastly, I would like to thank the library board for sticking to their guns and not adhering to the pressure from the city of Florence. And
Yeah, they weren't very nice.
I understand the city of Florence's comments and thoughts, but I get it from their standpoint. But Walton has patiently waited for 20-something years to have a library that's more fitting of the growth that we've seen. When our library was put in, it was for a town of a little under 1,000 people, or right at 1,000 people in that time. And, we've grown to a town of 4,000 in that time. And basically, essentially, we've outgrown our library. And we've sat back and patiently waited while, the library has owned this property at the town center since the town center's inception. So a little over 10 years they've had it. So
So Florence was trying to cut line or something?
Florence was definitely trying to cut line, and
They have the Florence Nursery property that they set aside, and they're bigger, and they can get.
Florence, for all their worth, they were, you know, best I could say it, a little arrogant in purchasing a piece of property and then demanding, in my opinion, the library board build them a library and go before Walton.
There's a good write-up, I think it's in River City News or whatever, with all their comments.
We might not be deserving of a library in their eyes, but all of our citizens apparently can drive or walk to the library, is what I gathered from the article. Anyway, moving forward, before I,
May I ask about the library? So when does that mean we'll get ours?
ground will break in 2024. It is going to be roughly, I forget, it's a rather large library.
Comparable to the one on 18?
It's not going to be as big as the main library, no, but it's rather large in square footage. I forget, I don't want to say what the actual, or, give you a number, but it seemed like it was a rather large building. I could find that information.
And if you will, just what property at Town Center is that?
Okay, so where Kroger Pharmacy is, where they've got there's the book exchange box, take a book, leave a book deal, that's sometimes there and sometimes gets run over by a car and that property right there. So
It's on the corner.
right next to where the drive-through is for the pharmacy, that plot of land right there.
Right there.
They've got the first two plots.
Yeah. I want to say it's close to a 20,000 square foot building. But
Two-story, one-story?
two-story, I believe. I have not seen the full plans. I know that's roughly what is comparable to some of the others that they've recently built. I don't think they have an actual set plan as far as drawing design yet, but I believe it was noted that it would be of some size in comparison to what we have now. So we'll have more details on that as we get closer, but it's definitely a very positive announcement for the city of Walton, and kudos to the library board.
May I just ask one more question? I appreciate it.
Sure.
So what then will become of our current library?
There are many possibilities for that. My hopes, in my mind, by that point, who knows what's going on in the city, but I would like to see the city pursue acquiring that building, for us to move in as a city hall, preferably with our own council chambers and meeting rooms and things of office space for, where we don't have to set this up every month and we have a larger parking space. And, in turn with that, I've had some brief discussions, floated the idea, nothing concrete. It's up until a week ago, we didn't even know if we were getting a library, but the idea has been floated around that we were, slated to have it. Kind of had some preliminary discussions with Judge Moore and Sheriff Helmig about potentially, if we were to acquire the old library and turn it into a city hall, possibly turning over our city hall to the Boone County Sheriff's Department as a southern substation. At least that's something that I kind of been floating the idea around and seeing if that would be possible. As of right now, that's, there's some interest there, but nothing concrete because we're not anywhere close to that. But in my mind, that would be the direction. If not, if the city doesn't acquire it, my hope is that the post office would acquire it and, by God, make a nice post office for the city of Walton out of it. But that's here nor there as well. So we'll have to play it by ear and see where we're at when we get a little closer with that. You know, as far as it goes right now, the library hasn't, you know, they haven't offered anything to the city as far as, you know, what they're doing with that building, so who knows? I'm just working behind the scenes, kind of floating some things around and, you know, putting out some feelers. So, other than that, yeah, to answer your question, I don't exactly know. I know what I'd like to see done with it, and that's about it. Okay. With that, I have nothing else. And would need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Howard,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Matt votes no. Right? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
y'all have a good night.